No
Here's a
problem.
British cup of tea.
What's in your cup of tea, Claire?
Just tea and milk, hot tea and milk and a sugar.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very hot here today, very hot.
Where are you?
I'm in just outside London. It's a real hot one today. But I'm not complaining. We've had it so cold. Thank goodness we've finally got some sunshine.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Where are you?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's really good to have you out here and, enjoying the new month. There's so much excitement. There's a lot of fitness that we have to get back into because people have been home for a long time. Yeah.
Causing havoc. It's causing havoc with the gyms open and closed and open and closed.
Yeah. I would love people to know more about you, what you do, and, what you're all about, because I'm excited to hear, your story.
So I am a group exercise instructor now. I've had a lifetime in sport. Started as a women's footballer or soccer player, as you would call out there, and an athlete. Stayed involved with that the right way through. Took my football coaching qualifications. Came to the States in 2000. Lived in Boston, Massachusetts. Coached soccer out there. And while I was out there, I didn't have a green card. One of the instructors in the gym said to me, why don't you become an instructor, fitness instructor? And being so typically British, I said, don't be ridiculous. And no, she said, like all good Americans, hey, it'd be great. And the next day, she came in with all the forms. And she said, no, you're going to do it. So I went through the American Fitness Association and did my qualification through AFA. I did a PT qualification while I was there as well. Came back to England a year later. I never looked back, really. I've been in fitness ever since. So 20 odd years doing group exercise. I was working for one of the big gym chains here. I was their group exercise expert, was their fitness manager. And when COVID hit and the gyms closed, I was one of those instructors who pivoted from physical to digital, went online. If I tell you, I am such a technophobe, or I was. I mean, I said to everybody, yeah, we'll go on Facebook Live, it'd be great. I mean, I knew there was such a thing. I didn't really know how it worked. So I just said, yeah, we'll do it. And joined us a mentoring group for all instructors who were doing the same. I went online, the gym was closed Friday, I started Monday. I have not gone back to the big chain. I've resigned all of that. I've now got a collaboration with another instructor. So we do 2 community halls a week on a Monday morning and a Friday morning. And the rest I do online, Monday to Friday. And I mainly target women, over 40, looking to keep their fitness going, want to keep young, want to keep moving, want to feel better about themselves. And that's my avatar, if you like, the kind of people that I target. And that's me. I'm also a triathlete in my spare time. And I represent Great Britain at age group level. So it's quite nice to marry the two. So that kind of inspires people to come in with me because they kind of think, well, if she can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's that motivation. And I believe a lot has to do with mindset.
Yeah. The biggest thing I've found out actually about myself over all this is that people say to me that I'm a good motivator. So take away everything else, that I am a very good motivator for people to do, just exercise, just move, we don't care. I know people think they've all got to be coordinated. We don't care. We just want to get you moving.
That's amazing. If you think about the experience you're having now and the experience that you had before COVID, pre-COVID, with, the activity, everybody's together, there's that community. Does that have the same effect online? Is it different? Because now you said that you're not going back. So is that a pivot that is dynamic, or do you just love the freedom and the flexibility?
I love the freedom and the flexibility, and as much as gym timetables are so rigid, every Tuesday morning, if you've got a body conditioning class, you are teaching body conditioning. And because of the demographic of people that come into a gym, you're teaching a very definite style. You can't really break out of that, because if you change the class the following week, they come back and they say to you, we didn't do it like that last week. So you're kind of a bit more limited, and you're kind of looking there, whereas I think fitness should be there. It should be much more functional about what we do every day. So one of the things that going digital has allowed me to do is to structure the timetable from Monday to Friday, so they get a much better mix through the week that gyms don't provide. They'll put on a timetable a class because an instructor's available or because the time slot suits, not because it necessarily suits the member coming in. So the member journey isn't necessarily always a good one, because you might find across the timetable that because the only instructors that are available at 9:30 in the morning are body conditioning instructors, that you'd have body conditioning Monday to Friday. It won't be like, we'll start the week high intensity because you've had a heavy weekend and then tailor it off as the week goes on. It doesn't work like that. And that's the flexibility that you get online. It makes you very aware of structuring what you actually deliver in that half hour that I do, that everything flows, that it moves from one move to the next. So if nothing else, it's made me a better instructor. And for that face-to-face contact, I get it by going to the community hall. But you can build a great community online. I mean, there's loads of banter that goes within the group where people speak with each other, and you can build that within the group as well.
Yeah, I believe so too. And it's that community that really brings out the transformation, I believe, because people tell their stories of how they started. You know, they probably lost weight, came back, and it's a journey. And I think everyone has that journey. And when everyone is giving themselves as that unique story, you know, as a unique selling point for themselves as a person, as a brand, it shows that health and fitness and wellness overall is priority.
Yeah, I mean, you can manufacture it, but, you know, I mean, I've done it on my group where I'll put, since joining Claire's Fitness, I have, right, and I have what? It can be whatever you want it to be, somebody put, I found that going up 2 flights of stairs, I'm not out of breath anymore.
Wow.
I found that I could fit into a jacket that I haven't fitted into for months. So it just depends where your goal is. You know, I've got a lot of triathletes on the group as well, so they'll say, and I found that the biggest thing is less injury. They've had no injuries.
So less injury is as a result of consistent workout, consistent stretching, consistent movement.
Toning. One of the things I do every Friday, we do a balance and core workout, which for people who run to keep their ankles and feet strong and Achilles and calves intact, they need that single leg exercise stuff that helps, because when you're running, you're only on one leg at a time. You never run on both.
Right.
So, you know, that strengthening has really made a difference to a lot of them. That's been a real plus.
That's amazing. I'm thinking of it now in a way where you think about athletes like soccer, you think about basketball, and you think about people who are just running track. What is the one thing that cuts across all of them when it comes to mindset and wellness, just in health and fitness?
They are all now in every sport doing strength and conditioning.
Okay.
All of them in all the sports, which they never did. You know, you probably knew it as a kid. You turned up to the track, you'd warm up. I mean, you know, there's a philosophy about, you know, if you're a sprinter and they're saying to you do a 2-lap warm up, you've got to be saying, well, why? Why am I running 2 laps when my event, it may only be 100 meters?
Right.
You know, so you can do a dynamic warm up that doesn't involve all that. You don't need all that. So I think we've learned over the years, you know, as sport has evolved, that the strength and conditioning work is what gives us, you know, that explosive ability. And for the longer distance and the people who are doing more endurance sports, it gives them that sustainability to be able to keep the endurance going without the body breaking down. We're now preparing the body for what we're doing, for whatever sport it is. I mean, every strength and conditioning coach now is doing sport-specific workouts for the event that people are doing.
That's amazing. So strength workouts now are very conditioned in the way that when somebody is understanding the value of what they're about to get into, they literally take that sport it's in its entirety. Like, you don't leave anything unturned because now you're focusing on the whole sport.
Yeah. But if you think even of a golfer, you know, where it's not an explosive sport, it's not particularly aggressive, but it's extremely aggressive on the body because you're always rotating through. So, you know, Tiger Woods being a good example of how his back said, I don't like this. You keep rotating me. My back doesn't like it. You keep repetitively doing it. So he probably needed more core work to keep that back strong.
Could you
probably needs to drive a bit slower as well, but we won't get into that.
Yeah. Exactly. Could you tell us more about core workouts and why they're so important for us?
I think in this day and age, we've had over the years where we've sat sedentary lifestyles, where we sit in front of the desk, our core is not engaged, we tend to slouch. We've got kids now playing on PlayStations, very much in that slouch position. You don't often sit up like this playing the PlayStation. And I think, over the years where people had always back problems, they ended up in surgery where they probably didn't need it, where they needed to strengthen their stomach muscles to hold the back muscles stronger. With the onset of yoga and Pilates has really blown up over the years. It's really helped. And I think we have a better understanding of what core means. I think, Pilates is posh core. It's a posh abs workout. We know that we need to work the abdominal muscles. Within the abs, there are 27 different muscles. Laying on the floor doing that exercise is very few. We actually don't walk down the road like that. It's not functional.
Right.
And, there are other ways to strengthen the core. I do a lot of it standing. A lot of the core work I do is standing because that's where we are. We're not laying on the floor. I do floor work as well, but we're not on the floor, doing plank work. Planks become so fashionable. Because we are holding in those abs and strengthening up our backs, and people are not having the surgeries now. We can give them remedial exercises without them necessitating disc issues and bulges and that people have, and it's through lifestyle.
That's amazing. Now, because of the gyms, like you said, opening and closing, what would you tell someone if they have a budget for the year to focus on their fitness and they're like, should I get a Peloton? Or should I invest in a gym membership?
No, I'd say come online with me. Now, come on.
Exactly. You better get on Claire's fitness program.
Why? Because you don't have to book into the class. You'll never be stressed about booking. You won't have to worry about parking or the traffic. You're in your own home. You can strip off half an hour, do it, done, and the day's yours. Why do you want to go to a gym where you've got booking for the class, you've got to fight the traffic, your hour slot, if you're late, you're going to miss it anyway.
Yeah.
There's too much stress involved with gyms. But joking aside, Peloton are doing phenomenally well. But as most personal trainers will tell you, the idea of cycling, and I'm a cyclist, so, I come in under this bracket, it's still sedentary because you're still seated. So if you said to me a Peloton over a gym membership, the gym membership would have to be the priority because you're more likely to exercise everything. But I think online is such a great way forward. We were going to be online anyway. It just accelerated it, didn't it? We already had virtual spins. We got virtual spin really with Peloton. It was already there. It was already coming.
Yeah.
It just accelerated. And you think, Wii Fit. They were already doing classes on the Wii Fit. You were already playing tennis and other sports on there.
That's true. Exactly.
It was
coming. And I think that was a very smart way of them creating that motion and building that kinetic energy, especially when you're swinging. Like you said, if you're golfing or you're a golfer, you're creating that swing effect. You're using a Wii, you're swinging as well. And now people are moving their bodies. If you think about kids, like you mentioned, with PlayStation down, what should they be doing and how should they make sure that they're still maintaining that core balance without overdoing it?
You know what? The days of sending the kids out to play are long gone, aren't they? But that is what they should be doing. They should be outside, get them outside, take them to the local park, get them on their bikes, get them playing basketball in the basketball courts, get them running around with the ball. As we as parents, have we become our work-life balance become so much more work than life? Are we missing a trick here? And maybe COVID's done us all a favour where so many more parents are working from home. Maybe they've got more time now to devote to taking these kids to doing those activities that I think, dying off. I was training somebody over the park yesterday and, I saw a group of boys come over with a football and I was just so pleased to see them do it, I think,
Yeah. I think so
Keep your
too.
sweaters down on the floor and
Uh huh. Those are the things I miss. I was actually talking to a friend the other day, and I was just letting him know that for me and soccer, like I'm a left back. And I love playing soccer. I love playing football. I love playing, the sport, even watching it, the excitement, the thrill of everything. And just recently I got to know that, oh, the parks are now open and, you can be able to go back and play. But I haven't played in about 3 years. That's football. And I'm like, okay, I need to get back into this shape. I'm already back in the gym and I miss that activity. Now, if you're thinking about a balanced workout, how do you plan that out if you want to do all those things and still stay productive?
you need to just make sure you've got a bit of everything in there. That
Yeah.
you've got maybe 2 or 3 conditioning workouts in a week and then everything else on top. And I think, do you have in your parks there, you must have park run.
Yeah.
Now that has got to be one of the best creations, if you like, in fitness, because it's non-competitive. Anyone can do it. You can take the kids in the buggy, you can take the dog, you can take your granny, you can take anybody with you. You can walk it, you can run it, you can walk a bit, run a bit. If you can set aside, say that Saturday morning that you go and do a park run, and maybe you make a point of going and doing different park runs. I mean, they are worldwide. I was in Australia a few years ago. I did one in Sydney, I did one in Melbourne. We were looking for the park runs. You can be a tourist and do it anywhere. And what do you need? A pair of trainers.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You could mix it up yourself. You don't even have to, it's not even rocket science anymore. There are so many options out there. You can pick up an online workout that does your strength and conditioning. You can find a stretch workout online. You can find yoga and Pilates online. You don't even have to go to a gym to find them. You can do a 15-minute workout. It doesn't have to be an hour. You can then later on in the day go off and play soccer, football, basketball, baseball, whatever you're doing. The options are there. It's just us making time for them instead of sitting in front of the TV with PlayStations, computers, laptops, iPads. We all do it.
Yeah. And I think when it becomes a habit, it becomes a routine, and then it becomes a consistent pattern. And sometimes it can take over your activity without even realizing it.
Sometimes you just need to break the cycle, don't you?
Yeah. I think so too. And speaking of breaking the cycle, when you think about breath work throughout the day, how does that play a role into your processing?
Depends how stressed you are in your life. I mean, one of the things I talk about a lot with the ladies who are on my group is obviously during menopause, stress levels are high, cortisol levels within the body increase tenfold, and that causes weight gain around the middle. And that's the bit that most women struggle to lose. I do a weight loss course. I call it weight loss. It's not really, it's wellness. I do a wellness course. Every so often I put them in for 4 weeks. And the one thing I talk about all the time is this cortisol spike, about stressful lives and how you can relieve stress. So the breath work is important as a stress reliever for men as well as women, that you take that time out to zone out and you're just conscious of you and being you. And I think we lose sight, women, men mainly, lose sight of themselves. They're busy running houses, jobs, kids. There's not a lot of time for me. And often I find myself on these wellness programs saying, hold on a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to stop this. Where's you? Where is the you time?
Right.
Yeah, but it's all very well. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. You know what? The shopping and the laundry will still be there tomorrow.
Exactly.
You've got to make some time. And I said to them, they think that if they're going to take on an exercise program, it's got to be 5 days a week because I'm running classes 5 days a week. I said, no, it doesn't, because that may be unrealistic for you. Three workouts a week may be more realistic. And if you can do those 3 workouts, you feel achievement, and then the stress levels drop. If you don't do those 3 workouts, you're already tense. And if you give yourself the goal of 5 and you never get there, you'll always feel failure.
Right.
There, your breath work needs more because your stress levels are through the roof. Exactly.
That is true. I think that is important to note, because you want to work out so hard that you overbook yourself and now stress yourself because you couldn't even do it because you're already burnt out from the inside.
But you know what? Exercise provides great energy. And I say to people, if you could get that exercise in, actually, you'd probably have a more productive day because you'd have more energy, you'd feel better about yourself, you're in a happier place. You probably would,
Not
feeling more. I mean, women do this. We get up in the morning and make a list for ourselves of about 23 things to do in a day, when really it's probably only realistic to do 15.
right. That is a fact. That makes a lot of sense. Now that you're even thinking about productivity, I just came to think about how I loved, until the swimming pools closed, but every time I was in the gym or, in a facility, I would be able to, work out and then swim right after. And the feeling is amazing because of the lungs and how you can be able to breathe underwater. And some people will say, yeah, I can't do that because I can't swim. I taught myself how to swim. And I love doing that, especially after a workout when your body's still feeling good. Do those two things have an effect on you if you keep doing it, let's say 3 times a week, compared to someone who does not?
Yes, of course. So swimming is probably one of the best sports there is. It's relaxing. It's lifelong, isn't it? I see people in the pool where I go to, 70s, 80s, even 90s. My grandmother used to swim till she was 93. She still swims. Yeah, it's a great sport. I'm going to ask you, so when you've had that great workout, right, you get yourself into the pool, which is now your chill time, how much thinking do you do then? How productive is that think time?
That's a great question. I think for me, when I'm thinking, I'm focusing much on my breath. I'm focusing on, just feeling whole. I'm not thinking too much about anything outside of where I am in the moment. And I'm focusing on reaching that end goal and coming back. And then at least taking those breaths, in between to make sure that I'm still staying within my guidelines.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who, when they take that downtime, will find it productive mentally. Mm-hmm. I'd like you to switch off and just say, you know what? I'm in the moment. The only thing I'm thinking about is my breathing while I'm swimming, or my stroke, or my technique while I'm swimming.
Correct.
I never get that opportunity because being a triathlete, I'm always like a torpedo in the pool. So to get that option, but there's no such thing as a relaxing swim. But if I'm doing a long, steady bike ride and it's quiet and the country roads are quiet, it's calming. But also, how many times do you find you may be stressed when you get up in the morning for whatever reason, work, life, whatever gets in the way. You get up and you go and do your workout. And you've done your high intensity bit, you've done your relaxation bit, and when you start the day, how much better do you feel?
So much better. You feel like nothing can stop your day because your blood is flowing correctly, you're thinking straight, you've probably had some great protein, you've had something that's really energizing your body, and those electrolytes in your body are also creating those reactions for you to feel more alive and feel more whole. Because sometimes when you wake up, that theta mindset and that delta state, you're still trying to wake up and change that. But I felt like for me, when I do wake up, and those swimming lessons I used to do for myself and just those trainings after work were like 6 a.m. in the morning, when people are still not, it's a little cold, but by the time you're done working out, you feel hot, that your body does not even catch that cold breeze, so, and it feels so good. But I think some people love working out after work, and I don't fall in that category because I feel like if I'm doing that, I'm going right to sleep after that.
I think it's hard, sometimes if I've gone down to the gyms, looking back, gone down early in the morning and I see people out on their bikes or running, or they've gone swimming early, and I think it's tough to get up that early. You've got to be motivated to do it, I'm privileged. It's my job. I don't have to start till 9. I'm privileged. But, I raced at the weekend. The alarm went off at 4:30 in the morning. So I was racing at 7 o'clock. That takes doing. And I hold my hands up to people who do it. And at the same token, I think when you're in a day's work, it's quite tough to then motivate yourself. If you don't put your gym gear in the trunk of your car and go and do it there and then, and you go home, it's very difficult then to get out the armchair and say, you know what, I'm going to go.
Right.
That has to be part of the day, has to be part of the routine.
That's true. I think so too. And a lot of people sit, watch TV, they drive, they don't really walk to work. unless you're in New York, you know, or you're in a very busy, or you're in, you know, you could be in Lagos, for example, you know, amazing places. You could be in India, you know, everybody has their own metropolitan kind of vibe and lifestyle. But I also think individually, everyone should be responsible for how they treat their free time.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the states in America, you know, I know when I lived there, you did have to get in the car to go. If you wanted to go to the gym, it wasn't like you could walk there. Things aren't on top of each other. I mean, here, I could walk to the gym, I could walk to the pool, because I live more in a more densely populated area. We're much more on top of each other here. We probably are more privileged in that way that we could walk, and yet people still take the car.
That is true.
When they could cycle or they could walk instead, you know, and you think,
Yeah.
taking the car there, really?
Right, exactly. And then you have to think about parking. So it's the convenience. And if you can...
Well, you don't have that problem with parking like we do, because most of where you park is free.
Yeah.
We're the opposite. You know, even the forest where I train quite a lot out of, I'm near Epping Forest. It's a beautiful country. We park, you know, it's huge. Lovely trails, great for cycling, running, any sport you do. And what do? A month ago, they put in paid parking. And this is free space for people. And I'm thinking, we're desperately trying to get people moving. We're trying to crack obesity, all these things, and you're charging for parking.
Wow. That's different.
It sucks, doesn't it, really?
It's not even fair, because now you're inconveniencing the whole point.
There are old people that used to drive up there. There's a tea hut there. To drive up, have a roll and a cup of tea and a bit of fresh air. Now they won't go because they don't want to pay the parking. If you've got to pay, you know, £1.50 every day to park there for your hour, well, that mounts up over a week. And these are pensioners. They don't have that kind of free income. And all they want to do is sit in the fresh air.
Wow.
You know, they're being deprived that privilege of free space.
Do you know why that happened?
It happened through COVID. What was happening was, because everyone was restricted to home, you know, a lot of people, if you've got kids and you're in an apartment with no outside area, they were driving up to the forest and they were parking everywhere and abandoning everywhere. And then there became antisocial behaviour with lots of litter. I mean, the bag loads of litter was ridiculous. And it was costing the local council a fortune to keep it going. So what they did, they put parking restrictions everywhere. They put red lines down so you couldn't park in these places, which pushed all the parking into the car park. Well, of course, then it became a nightmare. You couldn't park because there were just so many cars all being pushed in there that they decided if they made it paid parking, people wouldn't stay for so long. And they are right, that is what happened. But actually, it's gone the opposite way because people are not going at all.
Right.
It's had the opposite effect. It's a real shame because, you know, it's free public space. And, you know, we're in the business of trying to get people moving. And it's beautiful up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a shame.
I really hope that, you know, they open it up again and just let people, you know, get back to it. No, it's not going back? No? Wow.
Yeah, they take the money. It's a shame, isn't it?
It is. It's just sad, you know, but I think sometimes, like, we think about digital and how we can move. This is pretty much like when you see a problem, there's always an opportunity, and those people that really understand how to take advantage of that really change the interface and the user experience of how people communicate.
Well, you think about it. I mean, I don't know how this happens in the States, but if the personal trainer wants to take a boot camp in a local park or field, do they have to pay for that? Can they just do it?
I would not know, but from what I see, it looks like they could just, you know, have their space. You can see people just hanging out, doing what they want to do, and they leave. I don't see any restrictions myself.
Here, if you want to use that kind of facility, now the local councils are asking you to pay for that privilege of using their park or their area.
Wow. Which is sad. Yeah, it is.
You know, on the one hand, his park run, it's free. You can do it anywhere in the world. Go and use the outdoor space. And on the other hand, it is an outdoor space. But because you're making money, we've got to make money as well.
Yeah, it's not cool. It's like you're layering it up to a point where now it's unbearable.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about the way things are happening, when you think about the digital interface now and how people are connecting online, Facebook groups, Zoom, now is there a way that people can still enjoy that by still walking in their own neighborhood or doing something that is collectively acceptable by a community?
Well, online or in an outdoor space?
They could be in an outdoor space, but they're connecting online and they're building that same synergy.
You can build it online. I mean, I don't use Zoom. We had enough trouble trying to educate everybody to get on Facebook, let alone trying to educate them for Zoom. I have not gone the Zoom route. I just think, do you know what? I know this sounds weird now. I'm quite happy just watching me.
Okay.
Just trying to watch. The trouble with Zoom, the only problem with it is, say you're participating in my class and your doorbell goes, suddenly you're off screen, okay? And me personally, I find that distracting. Suddenly, where's Facebook gone? Where's he gone? What's going on there? When you come back, where you been? And I think that's distracting. And, suddenly the dog's jumping up and you're watching people moving, but the image isn't that clear. You're standing away from the screen, and I actually find it more distracting. I think the good thing about Zoom is if you're doing Pilates or yoga and you really need to correct people, then you need that face-to-face contact. When you're doing like I am conditioning, and I'm doing it, I give so many options. At the minute we're having a HIIT themed week this week. Everything's HIIT based. So we started this morning, right? We're doing a jog. Don't want to jog? March. You don't want to march forward and back? March on the spot. You don't want to lift your knees? Just pump the arms. There's so many different variations within it.
Yeah.
I don't really need to see them because that would be too much of a distraction. So it allows me to focus in on, how can I help everybody achieve the workout? We're doing a squat jump. Don't want to jump? Just do the squat. Don't want to do the squat, don't go too deep. You don't want to lunge, do a squat instead,
Right.
There's ways around every exercise. So I think you can build community quite easily through the Facebook groups. They work really well. We have quite a lot of people that are on my Facebook group come to the community hall. So if they want that face-to-face contact, they'll come to the hall and take it there. There are others, there are other women on the group on Facebook that love the idea that no one can see them, that they would never venture into a gym. In fact, I said to my group, of all the classes we do leg workouts, upper body, upper and lower, we do stretch, we do all sorts of stuff. Wednesdays we do HIIT. It's a Wednesday HIIT day. I don't know how we got to that, but it was through them asking, we want to do HIIT. And I said to them, would you go into a studio at a gym and do HIIT and participate? And they said, absolutely not.
Wow.
And yet, online, it's their favourite class.
Interesting.
Because women feel intimidated by other women, if they're a little bit out of shape or they're a bit bigger or they're a bit slower, they feel intimidated. Here, they don't have to. No one can see them. They can just do it to their own level without feeling they're being judged.
And I think that's a big thing because it also boils down to the same thing we began with talking about mindset. And, when you grow and you can feel better in your skin, feel better with your mind, you can think better, your blood is flowing better, you have low pressure, you're not really overstressing or, overthinking, because sometimes that could also...
Absolutely.
I don't know how that goes for y'all, but I would love to know how that process is. Yeah.
It's I've got this is a good example on my group. I've got sisters, Pat and Peggy. Peggy is a world champion triathlete. She's in the 75 to 79 age group now. She's won multiple world championship medals. Her sister leads a sedentary life and she cannot get her out of the armchair to do anything. So when COVID happened, Peggy said to me, can you get Pat on your group? Let's see if we can get her moving. You've got two ends of the spectrum. So I've got a very accomplished athlete and I've got somebody with a sedentary lifestyle. We've got Pat started at the beginning. She is still on the group. She's now got her own set of weights. And as she'll say herself, Still can't do it all. The bits I can do, I do. What I can't do, I have a march. But they're both exercising. They're both doing the same workout. Yeah, probably Peggy's doing it at a higher intensity than Pat, but nonetheless, they can both make it work for them.
Yeah, that's beautiful to hear.
And that's awesome, isn't it? You can't buy that. You'd never get that in a gym.
You can't, because in the gym, you're focused on getting in and getting out.
Yeah. Take the register, tick them off, get bums on seats, as many as you can in the class. We don't care. We don't care if they're late, even though you do as an instructor, but nonetheless, they take them late.
It is. That's true. I'm so glad to hear this, because it would start changing the mindset of people. And when they start thinking about, why this is so important, especially when you think about longevity, health, wellness, things to eat. People don't drink milk. Some people do. Some people, there are all manners of things that affect the body. Now, when you think about diet, when you think about fruits, what is the number one thing that people should think about when making these purchases or this lifestyle choices?
You know what, funny enough, I do this wellness course for 4 weeks. We do it for 4 weeks. And the first thing I do is take everything out. So they're not allowed dairy, wheat, anything with gluten, alcohol, caffeine. It's non-negotiable. For 4 weeks, we take out all those foods. Why? Because they're all inflammatory. They all have a response in the body. So we clear them out for 4 weeks and then introduce them back after the 4 week period, one at a time, to see what happens. And they are always blown away by those that usually go to bread to start with. It's always the bread that comes back in first, about how bloated they are. And they don't realise that these are the kind of inflammatory foods that they're eating all the time that are causing problems with their body, joint issues, joint pain, bloating, they can't shift the weight. And it's interesting looking at them, that when you look at their diet in a different way to any other, I don't believe in a diet as such, in a weight loss program, because if you eat a balanced, healthy diet and you exercise, you shouldn't be overweight.
Right.
They should come together. You should have, a decent lifestyle. You should not be buying. We don't need to tell people that to stop buying foods that have high sugar content, high fat content. We don't need to tell them. They know. They know that eating chips and McDonald's and fast foods and pizzas and all, they know it. They all know it. They don't want to do that because it's not so exciting, they think.
Right.
But when you pull all those foods out, and you start making them think about what they're eating and what they're having, it has such an enormous effect. In fact, I've run 2 of these courses. I've had 100% success through the courses. Because you've pulled, I say to them all, you can manage it for 4 weeks. We can all do it for 4 weeks. Not, it's not forever, but you will see what happens to your body. And I think, whether eating fruit is great. They say, well, there's sugar in it. Okay, what sugar? It's natural sugar.
Exactly.
Eat it. What are you telling me? Who sprinkled sugar on it?
Right.
If you're going to tell me you're going to eat a bowl of fruit and you've got to have ice cream and cream with it, well, it's a different conversation.
Right.
But if you want to eat fruit, eat fruit. You want to eat oranges, bananas, whatever, eat it. You want to eat greens and blitz them down and have them as a shake, go for it.
Yeah.
You don't need to eat cake and biscuits and chocolate. You can have it as a treat, but don't have it as a treat if you're overweight, because you don't deserve the treat to start with.
Exactly.
What are you rewarding yourself for?
Right.
I've been good today. What? You've only had 3 biscuits instead of 4. Do you know what's also interesting? If I say to people to write a food diary, then they're shocked. They may say to you, I have breakfast in the morning. I said, what do you have? Well, I have fruit and yogurt. Okay, that's fine. And then they say mid-morning, well, I have a cup of tea and a couple of biscuits with it. I go, okay. And then lunch, I have such and such. I'll have a salad. And you think, well, that's great, And then they say, I had a chocolate biscuit afterwards because I always like something sweet after. Okay. And by the time you get to the end of the day, these extra little snacks have become a huge amount of calories. And then they'll have a glass of wine to finish the day just to top it all off. And I say, the food that you eat at the meal times is fabulous. It's everything else. And that people probably said it to you. When you say to them about their weight problem, they love to say, I don't eat much.
Right. That is
Yeah, I don't eat a
true.
lot.
That's
I don't eat a
amazing.
lot. No, you probably don't. But when you mount it all up with a little snacking in
Right.
the day,
Over time. Uh-huh. That's true. That is true. You know, people say, yeah, wine is good for you, chocolate is good for you, but also you also have to do it in moderation because you don't want to be having a sugar rush or, overdose,
have you seen it when you and you must have seen it when women do it? They go somewhere and someone offer them a piece of cake. Well, I really shouldn't. I really shouldn't. I'm trying to cut down. And before you know it, they're picking at the piece of cake. And then the second piece, then the third piece. And you kind of want to say to them, why didn't you just allow yourself the one in the beginning? Because you
Exactly.
would have just had the one.
Right.
But because you deprived yourself, you feel like you keep picking at it.
Exactly. It's because you get that sweet taste that you want to keep, satisfying all the time. And it's kind of like a dopamine effect.
Well, it's the brain saying, isn't it? I like this, I like this.
Exactly.
Pull it out of someone's diet for 4 weeks, and then they end up with sugar, and then they feel terrible.
Right.
Give them sugar after 4 weeks of not having it. Oh, they feel awful.
It is. And even when you think about tea, for example, or, drinking stuff, like I know like white sugar is not good. Brown sugar is what I use, but I prefer honey. And sometimes you wonder, okay, are these two still good? I mean, it's brown sugar, it's not white sugar. I can still take it. Does that have an effect? Like think
But
about
how many cups of tea you having in a day where the sugar's in it?
barely. I don't like 2 teaspoons. I don't go really crazy with. I don't want to feel that sugar. It gets
It's
too
not going to
much.
do you any harm, is it? It's not going to
Exactly.
do you any harm, two sugars.
Right. Okay.
But one lady on the wellness course, because I stopped the caffeine, stopped drinking coffee, and over the period of 4 weeks didn't have one headache.
No way.
And I said, so is it so that the caffeine was causing her to have headaches? But she would never have known that had she not done the wellness course and pulled it out the diet.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't know that could cause that because it's like you're creating a problem without even realizing it.
Yeah. But how much coffee was she drinking during the day? How much caffeine hit was she having? How much spike was there within the caffeine that was causing adrenaline to pump around 100 miles an hour that then stopped her sleeping at night because she had so much caffeine running around, which then affected the cortisol levels. So then she wasn't sleeping better. So it's a vicious circle. By the end of 4 weeks, she was sleeping better, no headaches, and feeling better.
Yeah. Wow. Now I definitely got to think about how people take in their coffee and their tea. Green tea is good. It's good for the memory. It's really healthy. And those are the things I look forward to. Even salt, like white salt and Himalayan salt, pink salt, completely different experiences.
Yeah. Probably all taste very similar as well. So if you've got that salt flavouring that you like, probably wouldn't matter what you put on, would it?
Right.
So you could go to the pink salts and the Himalayan salts and still get as good a taste from them.
Yeah, exactly. And this is all that plays into your purchases, your decisions, your eating habits, your workout habits. And I think that repetition is really where the core value starts to attract that inspiration to that motivation to that transformation.
Yeah, I think one of the problems that most exercise programs, digital gym, wherever, is you lose people within the first 3 months of an exercise program. Why is that? Because they don't see enough body change within that time, and that's the only downside to somebody who starts an exercise program, that the body will start an exercise program and have chemical changes within it without any muscular atrophy, without any tone. And it's not till you get to that 8 to 12 week time frame that you start to see body shape change. And so if you've got somebody exercising, they're doing really well for 4 to 6 weeks and they're not seeing any change, they kind of think, well, I'm doing all this work, I'm not seeing anything, and trying to just keep them patient. That's why gyms will sign you up for 3 months, because they're hoping at the end of that 3-month period that you're seeing the changes that will hook you in. That's why it's 3 months. And you think it's the same online. If we can hook them in and hold them to it,
Yeah, that's a strong point that you've mentioned because 3 months, it also makes sense to me who focuses on, SEO, digital marketing, Pinterest. It takes even business in general. It's a quarter. People have quarterly objectives as a business. So if you think about those 3 months and you think about the turnover and the profit margins based on how you feel, what you've experienced, what you've let go, it really changes a paradigm shift in your reactivity. And I've noticed that creates a lot of excitement when you see the results. Somebody tells you, "Oh, you look better. You look a little bit more chiseled." And you didn't know because you can't see yourself. It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and like you say, I mean, you're doing the same as me. We build our businesses through Instagram and through social media. We post all the time. You're trying to connect all the time. You don't get clients all the time.
Right.
You have to keep sowing the seeds in the hope that people will drip feed in. You won't suddenly get a whole onslaught of clients. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
You want it to, but it doesn't work like that. And like you say, quarterly objectives, 6 monthly plans. It's not an overnight fix, is it? Even for us, building a business and a brand.
Exactly. And I think that's when people get to hear their stories, reviews, and testimonials, that they can now put themselves in their shoes and say, okay, if she could do it, then I can do it. If he could do it, then I could do it.
Yeah, I mean, I put a testimonial up last week about, the lady said she hated exercise and now she loves it.
That's deep.
How many people resonate with that?
A lot of people.
How many women had poor experiences at school with, physical education classes, put them off for life.
Right.
Now trying to get them back in and say, you really need to do this. They're thinking, oh, I hated it.
And that was the first thing you started with, now it makes it's like it comes right back to you.
Yeah, so that was your first experience of any physical education, as I call it, the blue knicker brigade. You used to put your blue knickers on and your top and they make you do kind of exercises that you didn't really enjoy. I mean, I'm very much, I say to people all the time, find what you enjoy. Which is why I wonder why some of these people have run back to the gym to go and do some of these classes. They don't enjoy them, they're just doing them. And I think you're not giving it your all. So what are you getting from it?
That's true. That's true. If there's one thing that you would tell people today, if there's anything that they didn't leave with, what's the one thing that they should take home today?
I would always say to people, find what you enjoy, because once you enjoy it, you'll stick to it. It's no good going into a body pump class, lifting heavy weights, if you hate every minute of it. You won't stick to it, you won't give it your all, you won't get the results. Find something you enjoy. If you enjoy walking, or you enjoy swimming, or you enjoy running, do that. You don't have to do it all. The strength and conditioning we know we do need to do, but if it's not your bag, don't do it. Find what you enjoy and then do it wholeheartedly. That's always my takeaway. If all we want to do is get you moving.
Yeah. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Claire, for being here in the Playroom.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime. Is there any way people can reach out to you? What's the best way they can contact you if they want to join your class or just, learn more about you?
Two ways to contact me: on Facebook, Claire Bloom, with an I and with an E in Claire Bloom, or on Instagram at Claire's Fitness, at CLAIR-ES Fitness. And it's a lower dash, not the middle dash.
Yeah.
Claire's Fitness on Instagram. So come and join me. I've got some free 15-minute workouts that people can take away and have a go just themselves. There's 10 workouts on the group. Go and do them and enjoy them. See how you get on. If I can inspire you just to get moving, my job will be done.
Exactly. Wow. I'm looking forward to it. I hope everybody is also going to, tap in and make sure that you're able to tell us what your experiences are, because we love to know and we love to keep people inspired every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today, and it's lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too, Claire. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Take care.
Bye.